Hello and greetings to you on this quiet day, relatively speaking, in Israel, on planet Earth, the third rock from the sun. I just paused the video in order to switch my other light on, and my teeth don't seem so bad. My lighting is not that great. I'm not, I do not have the best equipment, although this microphone is actually quite good and my computer system is quite good, but the lighting and all the other things, and I just haven't got the wherefore the patience to deal with it. So uh, I look my age sometimes, my teeth don't look so great, but they're not bad, not too bad for an old fart like me. And I tested the speaker and the microphone, and I had a problem a couple of videos ago where the sound was not very good. And I realized that I've got two microphones. One is a default microphone, which is built into my video camera, the Logitech, which has really served me very well, but I think it's time to improve that, get a more up-to-date one where I can move around without all these flashing and strange things are happening, distortion of the picture. And the other microphone is this one that I'm using. And for some reason, it's switched over from this microphone to the built-in microphone on the webcam, and it's not a very good sound. But I didn't test it then, you see. I always test, but not that day. So I've resolved that. So the sound is much better now. I've just tested it. And this video is called The Imitation Game. It's the name of a movie that I saw yesterday. It's not a very good title, although I'm going to talk about this movie, but it'll have to do. The movie is called The Imitation Game. The star actor is Benedict Cumberbatch playing Alan Turing, who was a rather eccentric mathematician. And they called him in, or he was able to somehow get involved, which is an interesting story, uh, in helping to break the famous, dangerous Enigma code of the Nazis during the Second World War. It was a very good film, I must say, extremely well done. And apparently, it's quite true. Uh, it tells of a very eccentric man who is a genius, brilliant. And the essence of the story is this, that the Secret Service, the government, were having terrible problems with this Enigma code because they couldn't break it. And the Nazis were transmitting all their secret information via this code, which was directing all their air force, their submarines, their ships, everything to attack the Allies. And because the Allies had no idea where the attacks were going to come from or on what day, they were actually a prey to the U-boats. And for instance, the Americans were sending food because Britain was starving. And all the convoys of ships were being blown up by the Nazi submarines, the German U-boats. So the government advertised or tried to attract geniuses, people who might be able to help. And somehow or other, Alan Turing, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, found his way into the government office of, I forget the actor's name, but he was in charge of the research to see if they could how they could break this code. And Alan Turing was extremely eccentric, very high credentialed, very good pedigree, mathematician, professor in university, blah, 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 but very, very strange. And because he didn't fit into the expected mold, the interviewer just wanted to get rid of him because Alan Turing was being eccentric. So just before Alan Turing was ejected from the room, uh, Alan Turing asked this government official, the guy in charge, "Well, what are you doing here? Are you trying to break the Enigma code?" And this was top secret. So the interviewer stopped in his tracks and asked him, how did he know? Not realizing he's talking to a genius. And Alan Turing says, "Well, look, you know what? If you don't want me, it doesn't matter. You need me more than I need you. I don't care." And was about to go, and then something else happened, and almost accidentally, as we could say, but we know that there is there are no accidents. He was put onto the team, and there were three, four, five others, and him. And he started to approach the solution to this problem like nobody else on the team. He was adept at crossword puzzles, and the others were not. And to cut a long story short, because you should see the movie, I think it's worthy. He created a machine that imitated the Enigma code, and he was able to break the code. But he was shut down several times. The intelligence people, the guy in charge of the research, lost patience with him, didn't like him. And this is the essence of what happened. And this is why I am making this video. Hooray, I'm getting to the point. I'm going to read it. My notes, what I wrote. Those who don't know employ those who do know, and they are retained and employed only if the employees who do know do as they are told by those employers who do not know. Now, why am I making this video? Because what happened then in 1941 is happening right here now. It's never stopped. It's always been like this ever since history began, recorded history. People don't know what to do, so they find somebody else to do it for them, only if they are willing to be told how to do it by the people who don't know. And if you look at your leaders, our leaders, here in Israel, in the United Kingdom, in the United States of America, in France, what's going on in France is very interesting. And everywhere else, to be honest with you, you find that the government leaders, the people in the government, have no real idea what they're doing. For instance, let's just take America. I lived there for 20 years. I've lived in different countries, but I lived there. I have an idea what's going on there. I did it again. I paused to have some tea. I've got some ashwagandha tea with shatavari. It's Ayurvedic herbs that are good to help develop stamina and well-being within the body. It's really excellent, especially for older people like me. The ashwagandha is good for the male principle, testosterone. Not that it creates it, but it kind of supports it. And the shatavari is for the female hormone. Can't think. And we all, men and women have both. Men have more testosterone than estrogen, thank you. And the women have more estrogen than testosterone. So the idea is to keep these hormones in balance, and this is what I was doing. Anyway, I clicked on pause and just assumed, and guess what? My apologies. Wow, interesting time. So let's take America, for instance. Donald Trump was president for 4 years, 2016 to 2020. And he was able to develop the economy of the country incredibly. Why? Because he is a businessman. He's been in business all his life. He made lots of money, lots of success, a few mistakes. Yes, he has made mistakes, and he's learned from those mistakes because this is what successful do. If you don't make any mistakes, you're not going to be successful because mistakes are there to teach us lessons. And he's learned his lessons. He's quite successful. And this was proven by his own success in his business and how he ran the country, which, in my opinion, any country is like a huge corporation, a huge business. Debit and credit, it's got to succeed or it will fail. The books have got to balance. Now, if you take Joe Biden, a lifelong politician, from what I understand, he's never been in business. If you look at the presidential candidate for the Democrats, Kamala Harris, she's also a lifelong politician and a lawyer, worked for the government in prosecution. She's never had her own business. She's never actually been in industry. She doesn't know how economy works. She doesn't know how industry works. She doesn't know how the business world works. And if she became the president of America, how is she going to revive the economy when she doesn't know what she is doing? And this is proven by all that went on for the last 3.5, 4 years. The economy of the United States of America is in the toilet. And it wasn't when Trump was there. Now, I'm not saying that Trump is a saint and the perfect person in every respect, but he's the right man for the job to revive the economy. He's also very good in keeping the peace. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are not good in keeping the peace. So this film that I saw, The Imitation Game, which is not the right title for this video, but there you go, told me how leaders with their glib tongue convince a pliant, naive, gullible public, or the majority thereof, to elect them, or to allow trickery to take place without doing anything about it, to allow an election to be hijacked, stolen, rigged, and not say or do anything about it. These people are gullible. These people are relatively naive. And they are going to be led by people who don't know. And those people who don't know are going to employ other people who don't know. And if they do employ people who do know, those people have to do it the way the people who don't know do it. So what do you get at As a result, failure and a complete mess. If your leader doesn't know what is going on, and we saw this in Biden, then it is important, it is imperative for the public to stand up and say, enough is enough. You're fired. We're going to find somebody else. But the public didn't do that. And they haven't done it in England. And in England, they're facing all sorts of problems. They voted for the Labour, the Socialists. And now they're going to pay a price. It's already started. And this leads me to mention the second most important point in this video. It is my observation over many, many years, I'm 79 in a few months, that in America, in England and in Israel, two countries I've lived in, they elect or they allow a certain party to be the leader, however they got in. I don't know. So I feel that there's a lot of trickery, skullduggery, and the public don't know. So sometimes they may be elected, a particular party, and sometimes it may be rigged. I don't know. So the party is in power. I just had the idea that I wanted to talk about has just left me. I guess it's one of those moments that we experience as we get older, although I don't really agree with that. However, there's so much to talk about. And it is vital for me to communicate with those people who are interested in realizing that there is a huge conspiracy going on. And the conspiracy is to take advantage of the gullibility, the naivete, and the apathy of many people in order to control them. There are people who like control. There are people who love money and will do anything for money. There are people who will do anything for control. They are people who are psychopaths, sociopaths. There are people who are liars. There are people who are not interested in doing anything and just want to be told what to do and to follow whatever. We are living in a society, a human society, with such a disparate nature of perceptions, of consciousness, of conscious awareness, of knowledge, of ambition, of intention, of light and of dark. There are lots of people who are dark. They are Satanists, they are pedophiles, they are good Samaritans, there are angelics. We are a mixed bunch here on planet Earth. And the mistake that most people make is that everybody is basically good, honorable, and honest. And this is not true. We are all the consequence of how we have been programmed. Who did the programming? When was the programming done? And can we change the programming? Well, the who. Let's start with the who. You are born. The first two people who program you are your parents. If you are a single parent family, you are probably with your mother. She's going to program you according to how she was programmed. If your father is also available, he will continue to program you also according to the way he was programmed. The reason why people marry and divorce is because of their programming. As soon as things get a bit difficult and the two programs clash and they don't know how to resolve them, then it usually ends in divorce. And then you go to school. From my own experience, I was born into a dysfunctional family, and my parents, including my older brother, programmed me. I was programmed. And then when I married and had children, I programmed them. When I went to school, I was programmed by the teachers. They were terrible towards me. I had a terrible time. It was amazing I survived. Terrible, terrible. But instead of just going with it and following the herd, I was one of those people with a little bit more piss and vinegar than the average person. And I said, well, I'm going to change this. I want to heal this. I don't want to live like this. I don't want to be like this. This doesn't feel right or comfortable. And so I went about researching, learning, listening, talking to people and listening to what they have to say, went on courses and learned, practiced, studied. And here I am. This is probably my 101st video or the 100th video. And I've written many articles. I've written a lot of books. I haven't really published them yet. I will get down to it. There's just so much information that I wish to get out there, but it hasn't been the right time. The right time is now. And why is it the right time? Because if we as a humanity don't get it right, we're all toast. I've mentioned this before in previous videos. People don't realize this, that they're heading for the sixth mass extinction. They don't understand what this is. It means death, doom, and destruction of a vast majority of the human race, maybe 90%, maybe 95%, maybe more. And you have a small group of survivors, and it'll take thousands and thousands of years to recover. And we've been down that road a few times. In fact, we have been told that there have been previously 5 mass extinctions already. Can we change this? The 6th mass extinction? Well, I'm not sure. And I'll tell you why. I made a video called 30-40-30 equation. I suggest you look at that. This is a very, very important statistical information that is important for you to understand. And it's not only coming from me, it's coming from a host of other people, including Matthias Desmet, professor of psychology in Belgium. And here we have 40% and 30% of people who are going along with this mass formation psychosis, otherwise known as the herd mentality. And we are going in a direction that's destroying us. If we continued the way we are going now, within a few years, the very fabric of our existence will be destroyed. And there are people who live in La La Land, cuckoo land. They have no idea what's going on, and they just believe that everything's just going to be fine. And yet they don't do anything about it. Constructive. They don't do anything. The majority of humans will lead us to the 6th mass extinction of the human race. So something has to change. And I believe it has already started with the choice of the people. there is some innate quality within human nature where you do things, whether you are aware of it or not, whether you like it or not, that will bring about a condition that will help resolve a major problem of the making of human beings. So the vast majority of human beings decided to have the jabs, the pandemic jabs. And we are seeing the results, the consequences. And for the people who are interested, who are able to open their eyes and see the truth, hear the truth, and who are willing to speak the truth, as opposed to the three wise monkeys who saw nothing, heard nothing, and said nothing. For those who have investigated and are bringing forth the truth is devastating and will lead to a huge die-off of human beings. There's no doubt about it. And a huge number of human beings are going to be sick. They are sick. They have been sick over the last few years, and they're becoming sick. 60% of the children in the United States of America, supposedly the greatest power on the planet, have chronic diseases, chronic illnesses. I live in Israel, which is not the most powerful country in the world. And in some respects, it's struggling to exit the third world into the first world. It's doing very well. It's only 78 years old, 76 years old. And there are a few limitations that prevent it. It could have been much, much better. But anyway, that's another story. And we are living longer here in Israel with all the stress, with all the wars, with all the bombs and the drones and the attacks from a number of different countries, living amongst all these enemies right in the middle. We live longer than you do in America. The longevity of Americans is reducing. I have just read that in the United Kingdom, the average childbirth is 1.44 children per woman, and it takes 2.1 children, excuse me, to maintain a species, a race, a community of humans. American is 1.6, I believe. So China has already recognized their looming problem, because if you know, they advocated and mandated just one child per couple in order to protect them from their burgeoning population. And now they've changed that. They said you can have two children now. Why? Because if they don't change, they're going to die out. And if the British don't change, they're going to die out. If the Americans don't change, they're going to die out. People don't understand this. And yet the jabs that were given are aborting babies, aborting fetuses, according to what I've read. And women are not able to get pregnant very easily. The jabs have actually adversely affected the procreational organs of both men and women. All you have to do is your research. And don't talk to people who are in La La Land. Go and find other scientists and other doctors who are giving a different version. And get as much information as you can, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between, and then come to an informed decision. Most people haven't done that. They were just told to do it, they did it. So if you're told to jump off a ledge without a parachute, you're going to do it? Well, you did. And this is the dilemma. This is the great dilemma of humanity at the moment. We are in a place at a time of very grave consequences of the actions, choices, and intentions that we have employed. And if we don't take steps to rectify it, well, there's always another life or two. Or you'll start learning to play the harp on cloud nine. I'll meet you up there. We'll have a cup of coffee and say, wow, that was an interesting experience. What did we learn? What are you learning? What are you learning from Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, from these videos, from anybody who is talking about all this, from Del Bigtree of the High Wire, from Seth Holehouse of Man in America, from Dan Bongino. There's many of them. Are you listening to them? Are you learning anything? If we don't get it right today, many humans will not have a tomorrow, and it's right now. So here we are, have got a situation where you've got leaders that you have elected, we have elected, by voting or not voting, by keeping silent when we should have spoken up, by taking back our people power, which we have given away freely to those people who have abused the privilege and have used that against us. And now it's crunch time. The chickens have come home to roost. And where are we? In a very, very sorry state. And it doesn't have to be like that for as many people as possible. There are remedies, there are things that we could do. Some people may be able to arrest or cure that which they've caused themselves. I'll give you another example of what I'm trying to say. The boss of Alan Turing in this movie, The Imitation Game, they were exasperated with him. They spent all this money on his machine and this and no results. And they said, right, finished. We are unplugging the machine and you're out, finished. And the other members of his team, 4 or 5 members, who were the only people who were capable of working on the project, said, well, if you're going to fire him and get rid of him, you can fire us. We'll leave too. Now, that would mean that Great Britain, United Kingdom, would not have anybody working on the resolution of the breaking of the Enigma code. So the boss said, oh, you can't do that. Oh. And they said, we are convinced that this machine will work. Give us more time. And the boss says, oh, okay. He climbed down. Why did he climb down? Because all the people he relied on said, if you are going to get rid of him, we're going with him. If the people stand up together in unity and say, we are not accepting this, this, and this. So we're not going to work. We're just going to stay home and let the country come to a standstill. How long do you think it will take before the government, on its bended knee, will come and talk to the people? That's what it would take. Banging apart and marching up and down the road with signs does nothing. They don't care. It doesn't matter. They don't care what you think or what you say. They only care what you do or don't do. So if the people of a country, let's say America, says to whoever, well, we don't like this, and the government says, boop, we don't care. And the people said, right, okay, tools down, stay at home, watch the TV, have a cup of tea. How long do you think it would take? Kellogg's is poisoning Americans with poisonous ingredients in its cereals. And those cereals have different ingredients to other countries like Europe, European Union, Australia, because in European Union, Australia, they've got more stringent rules. So Kellogg's has got the same product but with different ingredients. In America, they've got the same product but with poisonous ingredients. What would it take? What would happen if everybody in America said, we're not buying Kellogg's anymore? How long would it take for Kellogg's to change? It's time for you, for me, and the whole world, all of us, to stand together for what we want, for what we believe in, for what is for our highest good. Because if we don't do it now, it's too late. I would like you to share this video with everybody. How many times do we have to be reminded that the power of the people is with the people? It's for the people, it's of the people. It's written in the American Constitution. And who's living according to that? Are you in America? You're letting all these people take your power away? You're giving it away? You don't have to do that. I'm in the process of formulating a seminar that is going to highlight and bring forward, through inspiration, motivation, techniques, modalities, and what have you, a very, very intense seminar to help people realize that the power of the people is with the people, and it's time for us to use it. For goodness gracious me, it's time for us to use it right now for our highest good and the highest good of all life on this planet. Are you with me? If you are, leave me a comment. A little bit of encouragement would be very nice. We have such an incredible opportunity, my friends, ladies, gentlemen, children, to stop this nonsense and help start building a golden age for humanity. We've got it, and we're throwing it away, and we don't have to. So please join me. The toast is, this is my herbal tea. People power for the highest good of all of life. Thank you. Until next time, I'll see you then.